Hi, how are you doing today, second grade? We want to get started by looking at what you're going to do for the third 6 weeks. You're going to start with local community and government. And what you're going to find in the Unit 5 and in Unit 6 is that you're going to see a lot of the TEKS repeated. What's important is you kind of look at what it's grouped under. We're going to talk about these things in terms of either local or state, national. So let's go straight to where we start in your standards. And remember that I've given you, once again, just like what you had before, you're going to get a suggested pacing guide, but make sure that you're kind of looking at these too. So the first thing talks about describing the order of events by using designations of time periods such as historical or present times. So I've given you a picture of something in your local community, the Birdville ISD, a Fine Arts Athletic Center, and you would want to say, is this a picture of historical times or of present day? They need to be able to understand the difference. In the next one, it talks to them about if you were writing a report on the city you live in, what would you use to research the information? All about your local community. This talks about possibly that you could analyze pictures of your community, such as local parks, landmarks, city hall, fire station. Write a letter to somebody who just moved in describing your community based off of these photographs. So this is a great opportunity for you as a teacher to pull in some of those local things that are in your city. I think that'll really help, and I've given you as a resource a website for your communities, and all of these websites that I've given you right here, these are the cities that we cover, so this should help you out get some of this information. If you go over here, you talk about how people and events have influenced the committee. So, who has influenced your community? A great place to start is look at the names of your schools. You have important people who were named, or your school was named after, or another local school was named after because they were important to our local Birdville community. So this would be a great opportunity for you to include that information in. I have on here to locate places of significance. So, here's an example. Take this is a map. You could do this for Hearst, but you can do this for any of your cities and look at where the city hall is. Where's animal shelter? Where's the public library, the fire station, police station, city parks? That's important. Remember that students need to understand that we need to identify the functions of government. They are going to get this hit to them over and over and over again as they move up throughout the years, but it starts about getting it right in the younger grades. They need to be there to establish order, to provide security, and manage conflicts. And what I've given you here to look at is a study of our city. And this is kind of something that you can look at and see if this is an activity that you'd like to do. In addition to that, you need to identify what governmental services in the community and explain their value. So, which is not an example of a service provided by our local government. Now, here's what I want you to know. I have put a sample assessment, but these assessments are not meant to be the end-all be-all. I want you to look outside of this. Make your own things up. Talk about, what are other things. Notice my verb here was just to identify. But they should be able to identify that a library is a place that is, a local government service and why it's important to our community. So make sure that they do that. We want to describe how governments tax our citizens. So, describe services that taxes pay for. They pay for schools, police, and fire departments. It's really important that kids understand that every time you're paying, that's what you're paying for. We want to make sure that they have, that they can name their current public officials, including their mayor. So you want to make sure that you find out who the mayor is. And I have on here some investigating our local community, another opportunity of something for them to do. Talk about the ways that public officials in our local community are elected. So public officials are selected for office by appointment through elections. Students should know that mayors are elected and city councils are elected. And school board members are elected. So those are the big three that I want to make sure that you're getting in. They should identify how citizens can participate through staying informed. So, what ways can you stay informed? Talk about they can watch the news, read the newspaper. We want to get that good citizenship starting at a very young age. Then we need them to identify characteristics of good citizens. So I've put in there what's not a good characteristic of good citizens. And talk about other people who exemplify good citizenship. And I talked about a principal, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that one. But look at other, it could be their parents. It could be someone in their community. You know, we're coming off of voting. What did we do? Identifies the ways that they can actively participate. So talk about the Birdville Canned Food Drive, the Closed Connection, all of those different things. There's right here selected stories, poems, statues, paintings, and I have in here kind of a local landmarks so that they're able to see that. And then in addition to that, explain the significance of selected stories. Look at a photograph. I put refer to the pictures from 2.15a. When you go to 2.15a, you're going to see something here called landmarks in our community, and there's going to be pictures there. That'd be something that they can look at. You're going to go into your unit documents. As always, we have these for you. Use these as your big questions when you're asking the students. It'd be great to put this up on, you know, the board for the day when they come in. And what are we talking about today? Who is the mayor of our city? What does the mayor do? How is the mayor elected? You know, all those could go up. These are our big answers to questions we have for the day. That would be terrific. You have a lot of information right here, so you want to get all that in. And here's some stuff for you in some pages. There is some stuff about what a community is, and it kind of starts off on that road. What are communities, and then investigating our local community. So all that I think should be helpful. Now, when you go into the third 6 weeks, look what you're going to see. You're going to see almost an identical version of the TEK, but this time we're looking at it within a different context, and the context is through the state community. So I've put in here some key things that I want to make sure you're getting in about the states. And so when you look at context, you know, they should be able to describe key events in Texas history. The Texas Independence Day, Battle of Alamo, and annexation of Texas. That's important. That vocabulary. Write 3 sentences about an Alamo using the past, present, and future tenses, you know. That would be important for them. It could also be, is this a picture of, you know, the Alamo was in the past, people now go visit it in the present, you know, in the future I plan to go to San Antonio. Something like that. That would be terrific. Right here, when it talks about in the past, it talks about put a timeline. So create a timeline for those 3. You know, this would be a great thing to do with a foldable, too, or a graphic organizer. If you're writing a report on the governor of Texas, what would you use to research the information? They have to understand that you're always going to use something to research information. I have 2 pictures here. Look at these 2 photos of Texas cowboys in the past. What would life be like? You know, it's important that they use evidence to talk about what's going on in these pictures. How is this different? Look at these men out here eating on the ground. They did that every day. Do we do that anymore? No, we don't do that anymore. Notice here, this is really important, people who've influenced the state. So I've actually given you which one of theirs has influenced the state, and it's Irma Rangel. So you want to talk about Irma Rangel and what is that on the graphic organizer mind map below. We've talked a little bit about the importance of the Alamo, and so I have on the home map of the Alamo, locate places of significance, and so they'll want to know that the Alamo is in San Antonio. And 2 cities, talk about kind of information about other things and about landmarks and regions. So, you know, what 2 cities could have experienced a hurricane. We just had a hurricane. That's important. Oh, cities on the coast, you know. You can ask other questions that have to do with history. Tell us where the capital is. Oh, that's in Austin. But that they're able to kind of look at a map and try to talk about the things that could be in Texas. Right, and here we have fill in the missing function of state government below. What is the difference between the function of government and local government? Now here's the deal. They're exactly the same. That needs to be brought up to students. It's just on a smaller level, but it is exactly the same. Describe how governments tax their citizens. So what are things that you tax for the state? That's important. We want to talk about our governor, and we have some governor fact cards. They need to know that Governor Perry is the governor of Texas. They need to talk about the difference between the role of governor and the role of mayor, since they just came from a unit where they talked about the role of mayor, it should be an easy thing for them to do with governor. How is the governor? What is the process of electing a new governor? You know, you need to talk about how do we go about this? How will they go about it one day as students? I've kind of talked a little bit about characters of good citizenship and about just an expository text about how Irma Rangel showed characteristics of good citizenship in our state community. The women Air Force service pilots, you want to really get that. They served their country, they gave up their own plans, they helped others learn to fly, they helped in a time of need. So you really want to hit on important Texas people. Identify others who exemplify. Make sure that you're just getting in the people that you can on there so that you've got that. You want to make sure that you look at other important Texans, and this is kind of up to you to pick who you want to use for that one. I have a picture of a beach here, and it's got nothing but trash in it, so you want to identify ways that they could improve that, because you want to talk about what they do. This is where we talk about making sure they can say the pledge. We're talking about the pledge of Texas. And then this is where we talk about Texas state birds, flowers, patriotic symbols. It talks about U.S. flag and Uncle Sam. We're only talking about the state. So remember on this one, because we are in the unit of states, only do the ones that apply to state. Selected poems. There's here on page 147 in the social studies text, there's a bronze statue of Sam Houston, so that's a great chance for you to talk about some local culture. And as well to work on some photographs and community heritage, and look at state photographs. You can show them pictures of the Capitol building. 3 things why that's important to our heritage. So, 2nd grade, I hope you have a terrific time. If you need anything, please let me know. I am here for you. Thank you.